Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unwanted Opinions podcast. Jay and I are back here to break down quarterbacks 35 through 31. This is a continual series of our top 40 quarterbacks in the league. On our last episode, we broke down numbers 40 through 36. So if you didn't check that one out, go check it out. You can also subscribe anywhere. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. Also leave a rating, leave a review, comments, questions, anything. You can follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Email us, unwantedopinionspodcast@gmail.com. Like I mentioned, questions, comments, anything, slide up in our DMs on any social media. We'll respond to you. Jay and I will.
For sure. And I'm excited to jump back into it because I
Me
left
too.
off with a quarterback you really like and Drew Lock at 36, and you left off with a very controversial pick at 36 with Tua, who was just drafted top 5 2 years ago, and
2 years ago,
a lot of people thought was the next coming. So that's a way to start off our quarterback list on jumping.
Yeah.
We're going to have some controversial picks. We're not just here to give you what the national media proclaims as the best quarterbacks. This is just who we think. We could be dead wrong.
Feel.
Tua could come out and be the top 10 quarterback.
He can prove me wrong.
Yeah, Drew Lock could come out and throw for 5,000 yards.
And I can change my mind. Like you just talked about. The last guy you talked about is the first guy I'm going to start with is Drew Lock.
Okay.
When Drew Lock was coming out of Missouri, loved him. Thought he could be a legit starter, Pro Bowl type level player. And he hasn't shown that within his first couple of years in the league. I think he doesn't know when to take the check down. That's a huge issue in his game, the accuracy issues, because John Elway's done enough to get him enough weapons. I know the offensive line's kind of been patchworked a little bit here and there, and they lost Juwan James and paid him a lot of money, and the whole fiasco now with his Achilles. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about, but Drew Lock so far up to this point has definitely underachieved to what I thought he could be. And that's why I've got him at 35, because he's going to be battling with Teddy Bridgewater for that starting position in Denver. And, I mean, he's shown nothing through his first couple of years to say, oh, yeah, he's definitely our starter. So he's got a lot to work on. And I think they're fixable, but he's just got to put in the work to do it. And does he have that in him? So we'll find out. I think this is a big year for Drew Lock, whether he can beat out Teddy Bridgewater, because talent-wise, he's better than Teddy Bridgewater. So he should be able to beat him out. But we'll see if he put in the work this offseason and just figured some stuff out. Because sometimes it takes a while for quarterbacks, and we'll see if Drew Lock can do it this year.
You just, transitioned me perfectly to my 35, which is Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's a little bit better than Drew Lock. I think he's proven to be a little bit better in this career. I think he's a smarter player because he's had more NFL seasons as a starter. He's seen more defenses. He's been around more offensive coaches to teach him. So I like what I've seen previously from Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's a stopgap type quarterback who can be a starter. He could be a starter for an entire season when we've seen it. Win you 7 to 9 games, I think. But I think he's best served as in a backup role at this point. I think he will win the starting job over Drew Lock because the Broncos aren't super invested in Drew Lock. They took him in the second round. It's not like he was a high pick.
They don't owe him a lot of money. They don't have to worry about that fifth-year option with him or anything.
There's rumors swirling around that they want Rodgers. So, I mean, it's clear that they don't really care about his feelings in this whole situation. They went and got a former starter in Teddy Bridgewater. I think Teddy Bridgewater's super accurate. He, like Tyrod Taylor earlier, doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't have a huge arm. He has injury concerns. I just think his brain and his lack of turnovers would propel me to I would want him over Drew Lock, who sat at 36. And it's just a coincidence that they're on the same team. And that's who I think will get the nod going into the season.
I've got him a little higher, not much, but my next guy at 34 is Andy Dalton. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter anymore in this league. Is that who you have at 34?
Yeah. That's who I have at 34.
Okay, well, then we'll just both talk about him briefly because, at this point in his career, I just don't think he's good enough to be a starter. I think he proved that last year with the Cowboys because the Cowboys you could have probably asked for much better than a receiving core than what the Cowboys pretty much gave him last year. And you still had Zeke. I know their offensive line wasn't as good as it has been over the course of the past half decade, really. But I mean, if Andy Dalton can't win with that team, who's he really going to be able to win with anymore in his career? I think he's best suited as a backup quarterback at this stage of his career because, quite frankly, he's just not as good as he was a few years ago.
He's not. And I don't think the Cowboys offensive line and running game and defense helped him out at all last year.
No.
He wasn't given the best circumstances with no real offseason and going to a team he wasn't super familiar with. So do I think last year is –
He did get a lot of money to go play there, though.
He did. But what I'm saying is do I believe that last year is what I should hang my hat on who Andy Dalton is now and going forward? No, I don't. Do I think he is the same Andy Dalton that took the Bengals to the playoffs when he was 2 or 3 years in?
And was a fringe MVP candidate that year.
Yeah. No, I don't. But I do think he is accurate. I think he's smart. I think he can lead an offense. I think teammates I'm running into a lot of the same cliches with some guys, but
But they're important things to have, especially as a backup quarterback in the league where you don't want your backup quarterback to be some douchebag.
No. And I think he's like, for instance, I left Gardner Minshew and Taylor Heinicke off my list. I think I put Andy Dalton above them because he has playoff experience. He's been put in a lot of different situations. He is very accurate with the football. He is smart with the football. He has seen every defense there is. So experience played a lot into why I have Andy Dalton where he is. Do I think he's great? No. Do I think he can win you games? For sure I do. He went and won a few games with the Cowboys last year that, again, he didn't really have much help offensively outside of the skill positions. So I like Andy Dalton still as a quarterback. I just think it's this stage of his career where he's moving into backup role.
Yeah.
He's no longer.
It's just clear his limitations that he has.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
And at this point, I just don't think he's a starter. 33. 33, I got Cam.
Interesting.
I don't know if he's – I just – last year, I mean, you could argue he was one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league. And, I mean, I'm not that confident that he's going to be able to rejuvenate much more than what he did last year just because – I'm not sure the dude's shoulder is ever going to be even close to what it was. I think he still has many lingering shoulder issues, and he's always struggled accuracy-wise. He's had, I think, only 1 year above 60% completion percentage, and I guess I don't even know what he had last year, but eye test-wise, you could just see Cam's just not the same guy that he used to be, and he thinks he is, which sometimes is a problem when he's your starting quarterback. So that's why I've just got him at 33 because I don't think he's good enough to be a starter anymore.
I have him a little bit higher, which probably surprises you because –
No, I mean, well, kind of because you hate Cam.
Yeah, I don't hate Cam. It's just – I'll get to Cam when I get to Cam.
For the viewers on YouTube, you can see Jesse's Ohio State stuff in the background. He once told me Terrell Pryor was going to be a better pro than Cam Newton.
I'm telling you, Terrell Pryor came out in the wrong era. If he would have come out now, who knows what could have happened. But,
yeah, I think we all do.
But
he was immature. He was inaccurate.
My 33 is Tua. So I second a lot of what you said, and seeing as how that was on the last episode. If you didn't see the last episode, go listen to what Nick had to say about Tua. But never been a huge fan of his play on the field because at Bama, I felt like he had stars everywhere at receiver, and all his yards were underneath.
They always had
routes,
the best 11 guys
routes.
on the field.
Exactly. So he wasn't having to win a bunch of games. It was just a bunch of just go out there, spread the ball around, hand the ball off, don't lose us the game. So I didn't see – and you didn't either, what a lot of people saw coming out where they just anointed him the next best thing because he came in the fourth quarter of a championship game and threw a touchdown and relief for Jalen Hurts to a wide open guy running down the field. But anyway, it's not that I hate Tua. I just think that everybody overvalued him so much coming out of college, and we just wanted to put the brakes on it. And I've always said that I don't think he'll ever make it to an above average quarterback in the league. You on the last episode said, I believe his ceiling was at 25. I could see him being an average quarterback in the NFL, year 5-6 in the league. Dolphins have got him some weapons. He's hovering right around 13, 14, 15 in the league. Ceiling. That's a ceiling to me. I don't think he's ever going to be top 10. Definitely not top 5. But from what I saw last year, it kind of put our belief just even that much closer to permanent in my head. So he got benched in early on in the season
multiple times.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has been a journeyman career backup, came in relief and won the games that Tua was benched in. So with the same talent, a veteran quarterback came in and did way more with. Up to this point, Tua has been injured. He's proven that he does not want to throw the ball down the field. He's looking for everything underneath. He looks lost. I'm not saying he can't get further in his progression and won't progress, because I think he'll, obviously, it was his first year. Last year was a very odd offseason with COVID.
It was.
And not being able to be with your teammates. He was rehabbing a lot from his injury in college. So he didn't get the full offseason. But a lot of guys didn't get the full off season coming in, and they played better than Tua as a rookie. So,
I mean, there was exactly a few rookies who are further up this list from the same draft class.
Yeah. So
same situation.
I'm not sold on him. Do I think he can be pretty accurate with the ball? Yeah, I do. But building around all things the same, too many unknowns and negatives for me to put him any higher on this list and feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah. I got you.
So he was right on the outskirts. He was at 33.
Yeah. I mean, he was pretty close to where I had him. I only had him 3 spots down at 36. So we're still on pretty much on the same page with Tua at 32. I don't remember exactly the exact number you had, Taysom Hill. I've got him at 32.
38.
38. Okay. So I've got Taysom Hill at 32. And again, a lot of the reasons that you said in the last episode, where I think he's a gadget player. I don't think he's a guy that you can come in and he can be your starting quarterback. And now you may say, well, you've got him at 32, so you at least think he could start. Well, I've got a few starters who are going to start below him ranked down here. So that's why. Because do I think he's a better player than them? Yes. Does that mean I think that he should be a starter or them? No, I do not. So that's where you get to these rankings, and that's why I've got Taysom Hill. I think he's in the absolute best situation that he could be in. Maybe you could argue the Chiefs would be pretty similar to what the Saints could do with him just because of the weapons and the coach and all those factors. But he has things that have gone in his favor tremendously to be the minimal success that he's had in the league, where some people way overblow his actual value. So that's why I've got him at 32.
32 for me is the guy who Tua came in relief for, Jalen Hurts. I was a Jalen Hurts fan coming out of college. I liked what he was able to do with the Eagles last year. No, it didn't always translate to wins, but I felt that he came in and moved the offense better than what Carson Wentz came in and moved that Philadelphia offense. I think it was time for Carson Wentz to get a new change of scenery, but I don't want to discredit what Jalen Hurts did. Does he have the prettiest ball in the world? No. Does he have the strongest arm in the world? No. But I'll tell you, everyone who comes in contact with him, coach, player, media, they all love him. And I fell in love with him as a player. And what he lacks in arm strength and, precision, he makes up for in droves with his legs. He can run. He's a running back there playing quarterback that can throw the ball. That label gets pegged on a lot of guys, but I don't find it true. Kyler Murray is not a running back playing quarterback. Lamar Jackson is. But what I'm saying is the dude's 6'3", 235 pounds. Like, he's a big guy. He has running back abilities. He can run through you. He can juke you. He has running back moves and lateral abilities that a lot of mobile quarterbacks don't have. So what he lacks in arm talent, he makes up for in running ability. So I think another year in Philadelphia with those same guys. I know he's got a new offensive play caller, new head coach. I think Nick Sirianni will be able to scheme him up some plays. I just like what he brings to a team. And
he's got his boy in Devontae Smith there too.
He's got his boy in Devontae Smith. He's got a nice tight end in Dallas Goedert. He's got one of my favorite receivers from last year in Jalen Reagor in year 2. His offensive line can't be worse this year. So
it's pretty bad. It's a shaky offensive line for sure.
Miles Sanders will be back. So
yep.
I think
they've got some good weapons offensively.
They do. And if they can stay
healthy. We'll see how the new coach and yeah.
So
we'll see.
I think Jalen Hurts will have a better season than Tua this year. That's just my opinion.
All right, bold prediction here from Jay.
And I like him. So he's my 32.
All right, 31, a guy you have a little lower. I got Teddy Bridgewater at 31. I think I have him ranked above Drew Lock, and we just talked about Drew Lock at the very beginning of this episode where I said, talent-wise, Drew Lock is a better player. Just purely talent is better than Teddy Bridgewater. But again, like you mentioned, talked a lot about Teddy Bridgewater. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's a good veteran leader. He can move the chains. And they got weapons there in Denver. And I think you saw some success that he had last year in Carolina where they had a decent amount of good weapons, and they were in every game the Panthers were. It was rare that the Panthers got blown out. And they didn't have McCaffrey for a lot of those games. And a lot of it was because Bridgewater, he was just like, okay, I know how to run the offense. I get the ball in their hands, get it out of mine, just move the chains. And that's what Teddy Bridgewater did a lot. And he's still got a little bit mobility, not as much as he used to before that horrific knee injury that he had. He's never obviously been the same player since, where he probably would be a lot higher in this list and maybe still be on the Vikings if had he not had that catastrophic knee injury. But I've got him at 31 now at this stage in his career.
I don't hate that because he's proven he can be a starter in this league, and he's done it on multiple teams. So I don't hate that. My 31 is the first rookie off of my board. That is Mac Jones. I think coming out of college, I think halfway
Didn't you? I thought you had Trey Lance, or I thought you ranked him above Trey Lance, and I haven't heard Trey Lance's name yet.
I don't believe I had him above Trey Lance.
I don't know. Maybe if you don't have him on your list, I don't know.
Maybe I've changed my mind since then. I don't know.
That's fair.
And I've gotten more information on him, since the draft about just how smart he is, and the on the whiteboard with the plays.
I was just curious. I wasn't like trying to start anything.
No, you're fine. I want to go. I'm actually curious. I want to go back because I save all my stuff to see who I had ranked where. But I think Mac Jones at 31. He's accurate. I said about halfway through his last season that I thought he was a better pro prospect than Tua was coming out. I thought he did more with less. Tua had 4 studs at wide receiver. Mac had.
We're all drafted in the first round.
Mac had 1.5. I really like Mac's poise. I go to this a lot, but teammates love him. And it was clear. I forget who asked him, but they asked, was it Jalen Waddle? I think it was Jalen Waddle. Who would you rather have basically playing quarterback for you, throwing you the ball between?
It wasn't just him. It was somebody else, too. Another one of them said they'd rather have Mac Jones over Tua.
And before they could even finish, he said Mac Jones. So I think that speaks volumes about how players felt about Mac Jones.
There was another one of the Bama players that said the exact same thing. I don't remember if it was maybe Najee Harris. It was another one of the Bama guys that said they'd have Mac, too.
And what he did with that offense last year was phenomenal. So I think that can carry over to the NFL. I think he has a lot of traits that translate. No, he's not the most athletic, but I think he has some sneaky athleticism. Like if he needs to, he could scramble up the middle if the defensive line parts and get you 6-7 yards on scramble and slide and get to the next play. But he always seemed to know where the open guy was going to be and got it to him. So I like what he did at Alabama, and I think he can be a viable starter year one as a rookie. And that's what this list is for. This upcoming season, what I feel the best quarterbacks are. And I feel like he really has the potential to rise up this list in the years going forward.
Yep. No problem with it. He's on my list a little higher, but that wraps up at quarterbacks 35 through 31. Next episode will be numbers 30 through 26. So be sure to check that out. You can also go back and check out 40 through 36. So make sure to check out all these episodes. We're ranking every quarterback 1 through 40. When you do that, subscribe, rate, review, follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Get after us.
Don't forget, tell us what you think. Tell us what you disagree with. Tell us what you agree with. Maybe we have totally forgotten somebody on the list that you believe should have fallen right.
A snub,
give us your snub.
A snub of the 40 list.
But don't forget to do that because we like to read that. We'll interact with you. We'll react. We'll give you why we might disagree with yours, or give you the credit and say, hey, I didn't think about that point that you came up with. So let us know what you think. Other than that, until next time.
Until next time.